Hey, what's going on everyone? Chris here with another video, and today's video is going to be a little different. There's no real update about the Mustang. Like I've covered in the last videos, the last thing I have to do is just figure the drive shaft out. I believe I'm going to actually go by a shop today, get them to look at it, and if that doesn't work out, I actually already even have the drive shaft posted for sale just in case any interest or somebody wants to buy it, and I'll just go ahead and buy a T50, or I'll go ahead and buy a 0304 Cobra drive shaft that will fit no problem with the T56, and just buy the, I think it's a pinion adapter or something like that for it to fit the SRA, since I don't have the IRS. Anyways, I've gotten a few questions recently about the Coyote. I think these are new subscribers or just new people reaching out asking me why I didn't go with the cheaper version or why I waited so long. I would have been further along with the car, and it wasn't negative or anything like that. It was just basically the questions are, you know, you waited to find a Mustang GT motor. Why didn't you just go ahead and buy a Ford F150 Gen 2, Gen 3, Gen 1 motor or whatever? Previously, if you guys followed on the channel, if you're new or seen the videos, I traveled to a little outside of Nashville, Tennessee. Maybe it was like honestly like 5 minutes outside of Nashville, Tennessee, back in March to meet this guy, and he told me he had a Gen 2 Coyote motor, the Mustang version, and ended up being the F150. And the reason I could tell that was basically just walking up on it at first glance where the oil filter is. The F150 is in the front and the Mustang is on the side. So I don't know if that's with all the Gen 1 to Gen 3, but I know for the one I was looking at, it was right in the front. So sorry, my eyes are a little squinty, but it's really sunny out here. Anyways, that's the main reason. So that was like a whole wasted trip, and I wasn't about to pay $3,500 basically for a Ford F-150 Gen 2 motor. Yes, there is just slight differences, and that's really it, like the cams and I think the compression. For somebody to answer all like these questions in detail, I would definitely check out other channels or ask somebody that's familiar with the motors, or maybe a tuner or something like that, or your tune shop if you're gonna go this route, build a car, Coyote swap and everything. I honestly recommend doing the Mustang one, just because you don't have to change out anything. You know the power basically can handle. I recommend a Gen 2 motor if you're just going to go straight motor, not like a short block or anything like that, and build from there. And the reason I waited so long is basically I previously obviously had a Gen 2 motor that died in the car, and that's what I wanted. I was already pretty familiar with the setup, the Gen 2 setup I have. All the accessories and everything that I have, I knew would basically, you know, can be slapped on easily and have zero issues. I have the Ford control pack, control pack harness and all that. That's already set up for it. I have all the stuff from Power by the Hour. I didn't have to chase anything down besides the T56, of course. That is the only difference that I've done from the previous time that I had this swap. I've gone through a 3650, T45, 3650, and now the T56. It's a long story, and I can make a whole video talking about how I went through so many transmissions. Honestly, only one died. The 45 worked just great. The 3650, the one I had bought, I trusted the guy, and there was water in it, I believe. I don't know if he knew that or not, but a couple $100, whatever. Anyways, to get back to it, I recommend the Gen 2 Mustang motor, but overall I recommend the Mustang motor. I heard people recently talking just on some YouTube podcasts and stuff like that I watch, that, you know, talk about builds, and they were talking about a Coyote, and they said the F-150 version of the Coyote is basically the LS platform, which makes sense because an LS motor is pretty cheap. You know, they're not so strong or whatever. If you're just slapping it in and going and then it blows up, you go to the junkyard, get another one for super cheap, do it all over again. And that to me is basically like the Gen 1 version of the F-150. Gen 2, they said, is a little more stout. Gen 3, I don't know much about, but I just recommend the Mustang motor. It's less of a headache, and if you're gonna go, you know, you can get an F-150 Gen 2 pretty cheap. You can find the cams from a Mustang motor pretty cheap, swap them out. But if you spend a little extra money and find a good deal for the Gen 2 Mustang motor, just go ahead and get it. It's all there. You don't have to do that. Drop it in, you know, hook it up, and you're good to go. But hopefully that answers questions. I know it's not really just into detail or anything like that, but like I said, detailed questions, I would reach out to somebody that knows this stuff pretty well, or somebody that's a tuner, or if your car's getting tuned and you're, you know, reaching out to via whatever blah 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 tuner, they should be able to tell you, and just like that. But you know, to answer the questions, hopefully it does for everybody. I'm just super familiar with the setup I already had, and that's the reason I went with it. To cover the drive shaft, like I said, I'm just actually about today to take the drive shaft to the shop so they can look at it. I've come to learn that a lot of shops around here don't either have the machine to cut aluminum drive shaft, or they just don't want to mess with it. So the first guy that I took it to the other day, unfortunately it was like an hour drive. He had really good reviews, nothing against him. Basically, I think he just kind of brushed me off a little bit and just didn't want to deal with it, which maybe makes sense. Maybe he's had, you know, not such a great time doing it in the previous, or he just didn't want to get involved in it. I called Napa around. There's one in Richmond that does shortened drive shafts, but they don't do the aluminum. He said that they don't have the machine for it, but there's a place called Truck Pro in Richmond, so I'm gonna go ahead and drop by. Talked to him already, told him what I have. He said basically he would have to see it in person. So this is the last shot that I have to basically that I'm gonna give myself as like a chance to see, you know, like I said, I already have it posted, but I'm first gonna see if this can be done, because it's cheaper, and finding a 0304 Cobra drive shaft from somebody like on Marketplace or something seems to be not the easiest feat to do. Like nobody has one, or they're just like way across the country, and shipping is probably outrageous. But you know what, we're gonna go do this first. But I hope you guys enjoy this little video as an update and to answer those questions, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Have a good one.